Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Advance, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, and entertainment. And we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So let's get straight into this topic. So, as you guys know, Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan have been at odds for years now. And it all dates back to when Michael Jordan was the owner of the Charlotte Hornets. As you guys know, I think MJ was probably the first majority player owner of an NBA team. And during his tenure as an executive for that team, they just didn't do well for a plethora of reasons. And a bunch of people spoke about this. I remember them even talking about this on numerous occasions on Undisputed, where Skip Bayless, who's the biggest Michael Jordan fan out there, he said that, look, MJ, I mean, for as great as he was, he just couldn't pick talent. He couldn't evaluate talent. And it's a challenge that a lot of great players have. That's why you see a lot of great players that try to be coaches don't really work. It's kind of like mid-level guys that really do a good job because they have the patience. Whereas players that are really good, things that are easy to them, they can't figure out why another guy can't do it, forgetting that, oh my God, I'm Michael Jordan. Like, so, and I even remember Kobe Bryant when they used to ask him, would you coach? He's like, I don't have the patience for it. Ironically, though, he ended up coaching kids, which obviously Kobe Bryant loved children. But anyway, you get the point that I'm making. But one of the most vocal critics of Michael Jordan at the time was Charles Barkley. And if you know anything about Barkley, he's probably the most candid person in sports. Sometimes it gets him in trouble, but it's the very thing that a lot of people love him for. I mean, Charles's opinions have had people like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and so many other players. I think DeMarcus Cousins at one time, and Draymond Green. And so many of these guys go with Chuck. And Chuck seems to be kind of like the odd man out, because generally what happens is when you see a lot of these former players talking about the news, and basketball in particular, they usually cover for their friends. You can tell like they're covering for players, where Barkley doesn't have that problem. Shaq doesn't have that problem. And it's the reason why some people may not like them, but I think it's the reason why audiences adore these guys, because they know that they're not pulling any punches. They're not up there to defend their friends. They're up there to tell you exactly what they think. And that's exactly what caused the rift between Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan. And essentially what Barkley said at the time was, Jordan doesn't have the right people around him. He has a bunch of yes men around him, right? And according to the story, as Charles Barkley told it, after he said that on television, Michael Jordan gave him a call, and Jordan was pissed off on the phone and saying, you're supposed to be my friend. How could you say something like this and this and this? And ever since that moment, I think it may have been a decade ago or so, they haven't spoken. But just to find out recently that Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley looks like they're making peace. And this comes from an interview that Charles Barkley did on Chris Mad Dog Russo's show. His radio show, and Chris asked him, hey, what's up with you and Jordan? And Charles Barkley dropped a major bombshell here. But before we even get into what Chuck had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Prize Picks. All right, guys, the playoff push is heating up. Tournament hoops are here. The Masters is underway, and the NBA playoffs are right around the corner. There's no better way to cash in if you're right on all of this action than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. So I jumped into their team picks feature, and honestly, I had no idea why I waited this long. First time I tried it, I was picking game winners on some of these games. Came out right on my first one, and watching the game just hit completely different after that. And here's what I love. On top of the players' picks you already know, you can now pick game winners, spreads, and totals. You can even call who wins the championship or takes home the MVP. Mix and match across basketball, baseball, hockey, golf, all in the same app. And if your picks get off to a hot start, you can cash out early before the game even ends. Now download the Prize Picks app today, pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on, and get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup when you use code CLNS. That's code CLNS to get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay, perfect. So what I want to do is I want to play this sound for you. It's only about 30, 40 seconds or so. I want you guys to listen to it, and then we'll come back and I'll give you guys my thoughts on this news here.
Has Jordan talked to you, or is he still mad at you? What's going on? We always start there. What's up with Michael here? Any conversations with him, or no?
We had a conversation. We're going to get together and play golf as soon as basketball is over.
Wow. Charles, that's a big story. Because he was mad at you. And now, so you got back together with him, and it's who you're going to go hang out. Happy to hear that.
We're not like Prince William and Prince Harry. We always had a lot of love for each other. But we talked actually in the last probably 72 hours. We decided to get together and play golf as soon as basketball is over.
Wow, I'm very happy to hear that.
Okay, perfect. So you heard what Charles Barkley had to say. What do I think about this? I think a few things. First of all, from a human standpoint, these guys I think are in their late 50s, if not 60s, but late 50s, right? Or probably 60s, I don't know. But at that point, man, you like, what are we holding on to grudges for? Like, at a certain point, you got to let it go. I mean, for goodness sake, this ain't Ja Rule and 50 Cent, so it was never that deep. But in the case of Chuck and Jordan, they were very, very close. I mean, go look at the videos of them on the Dream Team and go look at them on Oprah. These guys were really, really close. And Charles Barkley always expressed remorse over the fact that friendship kind of dwindled and crumbled. So it's very, very good to hear that after all of this time, these guys are making peace. At a certain point, you got to let these things go, especially when you guys were friends to begin with, good friends, right? Like, that friendship has to matter. And over time, I'm sure these people are grandparents at this point. You let go of these things. You just after a certain time, like, oh, come on, we're too old here. We're grandfathers here. And we're still holding grudges against each other for things that, like, come on, right? And I'm sure Charles Barkley was remorseful of that, because I think in that moment he felt he was doing his job, but he didn't realize that his close friend would I think if someone else had said that to Jordan or said that about Jordan, he would have probably been upset. But the fact that it came from Barkley probably hurt even more. Because maybe Jordan was going through challenges at the time. Maybe he was trying to figure out, wait a minute, why can't I extract success from this thing? Right? So to have your best friend say this on a public platform, if you put yourself in the shoes of Jordan, it must have really, really hurt. For Jordan to have reacted that way, it means that Barkley really meant something to him. Because we don't react to people that mean nothing to us. You're not going to get all fired up about it. But for him to go that far, it meant that his comments cut deep. That's the first part. So I'm happy that these guys are making peace. On the second level, I think this is good for basketball. Because now that Barkley and Jordan are back in communication and they're talking, I'm sure they're now going to be talking about the modern NBA and where the NBA is today. And I'm sure some of that may spill over into some of the commentary that Charles Barkley has on television, right? So it could be good for basketball fans on that front as well. Like, that could also be, this could also be a positive thing that a lot of people are not thinking about. But from a macro standpoint, the most important thing is, like, bro, these guys are grandfathers now. They're grandfathers. Like, come on. At a certain point, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. You can't hold on to grudges forever, especially with people that you were close with and people that have showed remorse. Barkley has actually shown remorse about the thing that he said. And he said, I've heard him many times say he misses his friendship with Michael. And Michael Jordan must have heard that and said, you know what, man? Let bygones be bygones. Let's go play some golf and have a good old time and shoot the breeze like we used to. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave them in the comments and we catch you on the next show. Peace.